Welcome to the Journey Boldly podcast. My name is Dr. Gwen, and I am here to answer the questions you submit to the podcast. As a matter of fact, that's how the content gets decided. When you send a question to me, I look up the information, think through my experiences, and then provide the best response I believe will be helpful to understanding the challenges and the successes and the considerations that are important to women in higher education leadership. So if you have a question for the Journey Boldly podcast that you would like for me to respond to and provide some insight, then email your question to Dr. Gwen at journeyboldly.com or go to our website at journeyboldlypodcast.com and submit your question there. I am looking forward to hearing from you, and I am really excited to get started about this question. So the question for today is, how do you deal with unwarranted competition among your female counterparts? I think this is a very important question and a very powerful question because we're living in a season of scarcity in our nation. For the past 30 years, we have been moving toward greater understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in the past 5 years, we have seen a lot of universities take off with DEI offices, chief diversity officers, states mandating or developing DEI initiatives around the state through state agencies and federal agencies. And the majority of those positions were held by women and people of color. So as the anti-DEI movement has caused a shift in all of that over the years, there has been some moving around in higher education, loss of jobs, loss of titles, repurposing positions, reskilling, and it gives the sense that there's a scarcity of opportunity. When you buy into the idea that there's scarcity of opportunity as opposed to scarcity of what was, scarcity of opportunity says, I don't even see where I can make a difference or have the option to do something that is of equal value or just as important or fits within what I have found to be a very rewarding experience. But when you start seeing scarcity or believing there's a scarcity of opportunity, you start thinking that other people are your competition. Well, you probably can hear the direction my response is going in. As I think about unwarranted competition, I realize that a lot of people don't realize that the competition is unwarranted. And the reason they don't realize it is because they think there's a scarcity of opportunity, as I said before, and they're not sure where they can go, what they can do, and that they see you as the person that might be competing for what they want. The other thing about scarcity of opportunity is that we have bought into this lie that there's a zero-sum game, that if you get a piece of the pie, that's a piece less for me. Instead of understanding that we don't even share the same pie. Your pie is for you and my pie is for me. When someone decides that you're their competition for opportunity, just let them know, I got my own pie. So let's get into what I want to share with you today. When I started working in quality measures full time back in 2012, I knew really well how to do what I do. But I did not know how to have a business. And so I was reading a lot of books, and one of the books I came across was by Michael Porter, and it was entitled The Competitive Advantage, Creating and Sustaining Superior Performance. Now, I got to admit, when I first heard the book, because I had the audio version, when I first heard the book, it was really heady, and I had to keep rewinding, stop and listen again, pause, drive a little bit and think, because it was way more than I could just understand by just listening. So as I finished the book, though, I stared out the front door. I have a glass door to my office, and I stared out the door and I looked across the parking lot And to be honest, I asked the Lord, I said, God, what is my competitive advantage? And you know what the answer was? It was really simple. You are. So what am I here to talk about? Unwarranted competition occurs when you don't understand that your competitive advantage is you. So when I realized that I was my competitive advantage, I really thought more intentional about what does that mean. Over the years, I've come to realize that there are three aspects of my life, or three key components of my life, that make me my competitive advantage. That means what's for me is for me. And if I go after it, it's going to be mine if it's for me. And if it's not for me, I am okay with that. Because once I give my best at anything, if it does not get what I set out to get, I'm okay with that, because what is most important for me is I gave it my best shot. So the three areas that are really critical for me include: 1, experience in life; 2, expectations of life; and 3, eternal life. And I'm going to cover a little bit about each one of those. Number 1, experiences in life. These include professional, service, and personal. Professional life. My first job was when I was a little girl and I was cleaning house and working in the fields in Amite, Louisiana, in rural Louisiana. But my first job that I got paid to do was a janitor. And I worked that job from 15 through high school, college, and a few years after college while I was married. So that was my first job. So cleaning up and emptying trash cans, ashtrays when you could smoke in the buildings, and cleaning bathrooms and things of that nature. That experience taught me a greater humility. I also learned a lot about serving others, and I also learned about another level of cleanliness that other people may or may not have. But either way, it was my first job, and I still use that information in how I take care of people and other things. Another job that was really important in my life, fast forward to when I was an adjunct faculty member at Indiana State University, and when I was a full-time faculty member at Old Dominion, graduate faculty member at Old Dominion University, because teaching is one of my gifts, and teaching other people is really important to me. It's where I get my greatest fulfillment, and I love doing that type of work. So teaching actually taught me another aspect of service, like learning to say things in ways other people need to understand them, asking the questions that get people to discover what is great about themselves, and being able to incorporate new knowledge into their learning and to becoming a better person. So that was another key area for me. And the last one that I'll bring up is having a company. Having a company has taught me so much about discipline and faith, and opened my eyes and my mind and my understanding to ways of being I never thought about. And I've also learned so much about the unknown. How do you progress through the unknown when things don't happen the way you planned them, when clients quit, when clients lose money, when your teammate has been receiving information completely different from the way you thought you were conveying it? There's all kinds of things I've learned in business, and I've used my experiences from those other things that I talked about to help me be a better business owner. So my professional life, which is include my first job as a janitor, to teaching, to starting a business, contributes to my experience in life. Another is service. So I have served on the Indiana Minority Health Coalition as the board chair, working with people from all over the state of Indiana regarding health issues, and learning to serve people in a capacity of knowledge related to health, understanding determinants of health, actually creating activities and inviting community people to consider healthy ways of living and healthy ways of being. Also in church, I've been a choir director. I've been the praise leader. I've even been the choir director of a 2-year college. I was a choir director at Vincennes University. So my service and my professional life has contributed to my experiences in life. And finally, personally, I have 3 beautiful adult children. I have, my personal life has all kinds of things that I've learned, and I'm not going to get into all of them because I'm 62 years old and there is so much I could tell you about that. But anyway, so my personal life has really contributed to my experiences in life. So my experiences in life has contributed to me being the competitive advantage. Even if you've had any one of my experiences, even if you've had all of my experiences, you didn't have them as me. And that continues to make me my competitive advantage. Now, expectations in life, or expectations for life. This is where my faith kicks in. What do I expect out of life? I can admit that there were times when I didn't expect much, but for the majority of my life, my expectations for life were actually bred out of people not expecting things from me. As early as 5th grade, I remember my teacher being surprised that I was smart. I've been the first of the few in high school to do some things. In college, I was one of the first cast in the play for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough by Ntozake Shange. I was also one of the first African Americans to perform in some of the performing arts. There were so many things I've been the first for throughout my personal life that it has all contributed to me being me. So even if you take my professional life, my service life, and my personal life, together, it's only mine. So my expectations in life have been born out of being the first in the few. Another aspect of expectations in life is that if someone wasn't around to teach me something I really wanted to know or needed to know, I would teach myself. And that's why I read so many books. That's why a lot of my advice and my information comes from trying things that other people wrote about and then taking my own experience and sharing with others how that either worked or did not work for me and what I learned from it. My expectations in life come from me wanting more for my life and really deciding how I want to keep going. And my expectations are also centered around my belief that I can do the things I set my mind to. And it doesn't mean I believe that it will always be easy. It doesn't mean that I keep that just as strongly in the middle as I did at the beginning. It just means I keep going. And when I keep going, those are my expectations. So my experiences in life and my expectations for life contribute to my unique advantage. And finally, eternal life. I believe that there is eternal life waiting for us. And I believe that my job on this earth is to do what I was sent to do and fulfill the assignment that was given to me at my birth. Even before my birth, I was marvelously made. And because I believe there is eternal life, then that sets the stage for everything I expect and how I traverse through my experiences and how I stay humble, how I stay in a position of learning, and how I treat people. I make it a point to understand others before I try to get them to understand me. Now, I wasn't always like that. I had to learn to be that way. I had to learn to season my words with salt. I had to learn to share with people in a way that encouraged, empowered, and enlightened them. Encourage says, I can. Empower says, I know how. And enlighten says, I know why. And so I had to learn to do those things. So in thinking about me being my own competitive advantage, I know that because of a combination of my experiences, my expectations, and my faith and belief in eternal life, where I was created by God on purpose, for a purpose. What's for me is for me. What's for you is for you. Unwarranted competition is truly unwarranted because you are the competitive advantage, and everything that was set for you is for you. I hope these comments have encouraged you, empowered you, and enlightened you about choosing to not see life as scarcity of opportunity, that all of your creativity is the sum total of all the great things that have happened to you and all the challenging things that have happened to you. And this is your time. There is not a scarcity of opportunity. There is no scarcity of opportunity for you. Again, if you have a question that you would like for me to address on the Journey Boldly podcast, please send your questions to Dr. Gwen at journeyboldlypodcast.com or go to the website at journeyboldlypodcast.com and submit your question there. Thank you again and have an amazing day.